We're looking into Islayan, and her goal was 95% when she was on the training. Her goal was 95%. Let's um see what she gets towards the end of today's session. The reason that I share reviews and scores from past students is so that you guys can see. Every week I try and bring in a new student, so you guys can see how many students out there are actually achieving their score, because when we're studying on a day-to-day basis, it can seem boring, it can seem like a drag, it can seem challenging. That all of that means we're growing. So all of that those steps means we're growing, and the score that you're eventually going to get is not going to happen on your test day. It happens every single day. Every single day, you're pushing, you're knocking your score 1%, 2%, 0.5%. Everything is growth. So let's take a look at question number one. Um, let's not rush to conclusions. If you've seen something similar or same before, let's not rush to conclusions. Take at least 10 seconds to try and internalize the question. A lot of questions repeat and similar questions come up. So it's okay if you identify, oh my God, I think it's that kind of a question. But remember, 1 minute per question, that's the rule. If you guys have solutions, you could always drop them in the chat box. These kind of questions are very common. They've been coming up for years, and still, yeah, they've been coming up for years. And usually when we look at numbers, especially numbers that are not that big, 4, 5, 8, 6, 7, 11, 15, we try and think like, let's work it out. Hold that urge to work it out, and just because a lot of the times we do not need to work it out. So answer option number A has two negative signs. We have a negative here, and we have a negative here. So eventually the final answer that we get is going to be a positive, because the negatives will cancel out each other. It will be positive something. Whereas when we look at answer option B, negative, negative, they cancel to give you a positive, and we still have a negative left over. So the answer, whatever the answer is going to be, it's going to be in the negative. So this kind of question, I don't even need to solve it, because one answer is coming up in the positive and the other answer is coming up in the negative, which means the one that's greater is answer option number A. Super simple, right? And something worth remembering. Something worth remembering, because we don't need to solve, and it's been repeating since years. They just change around the numbers, but it always comes up. So next question, guys. Now this over here is also a type of questions that's been repeating since years. So 30 is common in both of them, which means I'm just going to take it off because I'm comparing which is bigger, A or B. So 30 is the same both places. Now the only thing I'm left with is 50% and 3/5. One of them is given in a ratio and the other one is given in percentage. 50% I know is half. That's easier to convert. That percentage is easier to convert into a fraction, whereas a fraction, 3/5, converting into a percentage. But towards the beginning of the training, we do have these common fractions, ratios that keep coming up. And 3/5 is one of that. 3/5 is actually 60%. It's worth remembering these and making a point of that in your GAT notebook, because they come up so often, and you don't want to sit in the test solving 3/5 what percentage that is. And hopefully 50% is simple, 1/5 to half. Now, so what I'm comparing is I'm comparing 50% to 60%. Which one is greater? B is greater. Next question. Question number 3. Triangle ABC is a right angle triangle at A And then we're being asked to compare it to a few sides. Okay. We're asked to compare sides. It's a right angle at A. Why isn't this working? Okay. So we don't really know how long the sides are, but we do know that it's a right angle at A. This is what it is. So the other one's going to be B, and the third one's going to be C. This is a picture that is going to go in your mind. This is a picture that's going to go in your mind. We don't have time to draw because I have to explain it to you. I'm kind of putting it down on paper. So it's a right angle at A, compare AB and AC. So in one of the questions, in answer option A, we're comparing these two, which are the legs, not the hypotenuse. And in the other one, answer option B, we're comparing AC to BC. So there's some similarity here, which is, as the last question, which is there's something that's the same, AB, AC. I'm just going to take them off because they're the same on both. And then what I'm comparing is basically AB to BC. And because for triangles, we know that the hypotenuse is always longer than the legs, I'm going to go with answer option B. Understanding this question could have taken some time because there are no numbers. You have to imagine the triangle, but solving is actually so super simple. And again, this is a kind of question that repeats. So the good thing about questions that repeat is there's a good chance it comes into your test and you manage to get that right, inshallah. The next question, question number 4. These kind of questions, from my experience, have the potential of throwing the students off. It can push us into the underconfident area because X, Y fractions and having to add them, don't know how to solve it. But again, I'm going to re-anchor myself like, Bismillah, I got this. I'm just going to do my best. I don't care if I get it right or wrong. So choose a sentence that works for you and use it before every question. One, deep breathe in, deep breathe out. So you've anchored yourself. And now you're not falling into overconfidence or underconfident. And then we go like, okay, let me take a look at it. So two fractions, we're adding them up to get a 25. We have no idea where X and Y are. Actually, that's what the question is saying. What is X and what is Y? One thing that I can see is that denominator is the same, which is 4. So I can actually also put them together. Everything's going in my head. I'm just doing it on paper to help you understand, but everything can be done in your mind. It's better to practice doing it in the mind because it's faster. So it's something divided by 4, which is going to give me 25. And I already do know that this is from the special numbers, which is beginning of the training, that 100 divided by 4 is 25, right? 100 divided by 4 is 25. So X and Y, whatever they are, they need to add up together to give me 100. Does this give me 100? No. Does this give me 100? No. Does this give me 100? No. Does this give me 100? Yes. 30 and 70. 30 plus 70 is 100. 100 by 4 is 25. Number 5. So Khalid buys phone for 625 Saudi riyals and he sells it for 650 Saudi riyals. Find the percentage profit. A few things are happening together. It's a word problem. The numbers are not that small, 625, 650. They're well-rounded numbers, but not small numbers. And then they're speaking about percentage and profit. It does have the capacity to throw off people, so be aware of that. Percentage profit is a formula. Luckily, that's one of the very few formulas that we need to know for GAT. But anyways, profit is basically what's your gain, which is 625, 650. So the gain is 25 reals out of the original. The original is 625. And to convert anything into percentage, we need to multiply by 100, right? And that's it. We're just looking to solve this. Now, it's usually a tussle if we should estimate or solve. When I look at the answer options, 10 is quite apart, but the rest of them are pretty close, especially 4 and 5. So I'm thinking estimation may not give me the answer. I'll try and solving then. When the numbers are far apart, estimation works better. 625 is a special number, right? 5 times 5 times 5. 5 cube is 625. Or no, actually 5 to the power 4 is 525. What I could do is if I remember the special numbers, then I could use that. This is 5 squared. This is 5 to the power 4. If I remember special numbers, which you must remember, just keep them in front of you. Every week, every day you're going through them, looking through them, you're going to internalize them eventually. So it's actually 1/25 that we're looking at, which is a quarter, right? Yeah, so we're saying 1/25 times 100, which is 4%, 25 and 100. 25 times 1, 25, 25 times 4, 4%. Yeah, so the quickest and easiest way would be, first of all, we unfortunately cannot estimate here, but if we remember the special numbers, 5 to the power 5 and 5 to the power 4, that would be the quickest and easiest. But to the next question, what happened? Question number 6. Again, something similar to percentage profit, we have ratios. Actually, ratios repeat more than percentage profits. We have two formula for ratios, directly proportional and indirectly proportional. Directly proportional would be, so when something is directly proportional, it would come up as, let's say, A over B equals to C over D. If you remember these, great. If you don't remember them, jot them down into your GAT notebook. So this is when things are directly proportional. When something is inversely proportional, it's the two values A times B is equal to C times D. So let's see, is it directly proportional or indirectly proportional in this case? If 9 men can do a piece of work in 8 hours, in how many hours will 12 men do the same work? So it's the same work. 9 men took 8 hours, but the number of men has increased now to 12. So will they take more time or less time to finish off the job? So just give me this answer. Perfine, good job. I'm not sure about, you see. Yeah, you're right. That's the correct answer. Good job. So this is yes, it's the number of hours is going to decrease, which means it's inversely proportional. One value increases, the other decreases, inversely proportional. So we're going to choose the multiplication formula, which is 9 times 8 should be equal to 12 times something. Let's just say hours. And that's it. I'm just trying to solve this now. So it's 9 times 8 equals 12. I would take 12 on the other side and start solving. And yeah, that's correct. So this divided by 12. 2, 3, 3, that's a 6. 3 times 2, that's a 6. A person has 3 friends. He meets the first one on the 3rd day, the second one on the 2nd day, and the third one on the 5th day. How often do they meet in 60 days? Again, it's a question that does repeat, not necessarily that often, but it does repeat and it's confusing, right? The good thing is it's just confusing on the first side. Actually, solving is easy. It's kind of like a puzzle kind of thing, and it is puzzling. So the question says a person has 3 friends. He meets the first on every 3rd day, the second on every 2nd day, and the third on every 5th day. How often do they meet in 60 days? This actually means there's a word that's missing here. How often do they all meet in 60 days? That means the days on which everyone is meeting together, because the first one is every 3rd day, which is 3, 6, 9, and so forth. The other one is every 2nd day, 2, 4, 6, etc. The third one is every 5th day, which is 5th day, 10th day, 15th day, so forth. And how often do they meet in 60 days? That's the question. To explain it in the easiest way, I wanted to come across easy, inshallah, would be, the person he's meeting the least is the third one, because that's every 5 days. So I'm going to say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I don't have enough space, so I'll just continue here. 35, 40, 45. This is just for explanation, because I do understand that this is a long process, but I wanted to be able to land well and make sense. So when something similar comes again, you know exactly what to do. So these are the number of days when he's meeting up with friend number 3. And that's the most scarce. Now, all I'm going to do is check, is he meeting with friend number 2 and 1 on these days as well? If you can see, the first friend is multiples of 3. The second friend is multiples of 2. So every time I land into multiple of 2 and multiple of 3, that's the one they're all meeting together. I'm going to repeat that one more time. This is friend number 3, who he's meeting on multiples of 5. Friend number 1, he's meeting on multiples of 3. Friend number 2, he's meeting on multiples of 2. So every time it's a multiple of 2 and a multiple of 3 and a multiple of 5, that's the day when everyone's meeting up together. So when I look at the options, number 5 is not a multiple of 2, not a multiple of 3. Again, not. 30 is. 30 is a multiple of 3, 30 is a multiple of 2, 30 is a multiple of 5. So this is the day when all of them met. And then I check the other answer options as well, and then it's 60 is the multiple of 2 and 3. So this is the day that they all met. So there are only 2 days when they actually, all of them meet. The rest of them, He's either meeting one or the other, but not all of them. So from understanding point of view, I hope it made sense. But when next time a question like this repeats, all you're going to do is LCM. Find the least common multiple of all of them. A number that is multipliable with each one of the numbers. So comparing answer option A and B. These kind of questions repeat a lot. In fact, we already did a question like this today. The urge is to go and solve this, and whenever we feel the urge to go and solve, we actually are going to fall into the trap of underconfidence because there's a letter A and then I don't know how to solve, and there are negative numbers. But that's when I have to stop myself, re-anchor myself, deep breath in, deep breath out, and tell myself, you know what, you got this. And try and attempt. So this question over here is, again, do you see the first bracket is being squared? So whatever is within that bracket, once you square it, you end up getting something positive. The second bracket is also being squared. Whatever is in that bracket, whenever you square it, you end up getting something positive. The reason I came up with that idea is because I see a negative here. B is a negative answer, minus 22. So B is always going to be smaller and A is always going to be bigger. So the answer option is actually A. A restaurant has 4 pie options, 3 drink options. If each meal consists of a pie and a drink, how many different meals can there be? What's the answer? C. Yeah, that's correct. C is the correct answer option. So that's good job. So we have 4 pies and 3 drinks. Let's say that this is drink number 1, drink number 2, drink number 3. Again, just for the sake of understanding, I'm drawing it out over here. And 4 different pies with drink 1, 4 different pies with drink 2. These are combinations, right? And 4 different pies with drink 3. That's 12 options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. A quicker, this is just to be able to show you how it's 12. But next time you see a question like this, straight out multiply 4 and 3 to get the total number of combinations. And a man has word problems. Do you see how many word problems are coming up? Usually word problems have the potential of throwing us off, making us fall into underconfidence. Remember, the first 5 seconds of looking at a question are really important because that's where we anchor ourselves and tell ourselves, you know what, we got this. It's only when we bring our brain into that calm state, it's easiest to actually get to the answers. A man has 120 banknotes of $5, 5 Saudi riyals, and 10 Saudi riyals. So there's 120 notes of 5s and 10s. The number of 10s notes is twice the number of 5. Okay, that's information. The number of 5s is twice the number of, the number of 10s is twice the number of 5. So if I look at this 120, if I divide this into 3 parts, which is 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. The 10s is twice. So that means we have this many 10s and we have this many 5s. The 10s is twice. So we have 80 10s and 40 5s. I hope it makes sense up until here. If it does, the rest of it is just calculation. I hope it makes sense up until here. So 80 10s is actually 800. And 45 is actually 4 times 5, 20, and another 0, that's 200. what's the total amount that he has? So the total amount of money he has is 200 plus 800, which is 1,000. Perfine got a D. Yes, that's correct. The answer option is D, 1,000. Again, if you see the question, the initial shock is a bit more than the solving process itself. So I want you to internalize this. GAT is not that difficult. GAT is not that challenging. It's the solving is actually easy. It's much easier than what you do in your high school. Formulas, concepts, solving, everything is easier. It's just the nature of the GAT questions, which is made to throw you off. They're by nature tricky because it's an aptitude test. It's not a knowledge-based test. They're checking who are you? Are you strong enough to stay anchored, or does any weird question throws you off and you mess up your paper? This is a comparison question. Comparison questions, again, are very, very common. 35, when we're comparing, do you see that these two numbers are the same? So I'm just going to rule them out. And if you pay attention to 125, it's a number that 121, sorry, 121 is a number we've seen before. 121 and 11 square is the same thing. 11 square is 121. So they're actually the same. Both are the same. That was fast, right? Brilliant. Yes, that's correct, guys. C is the correct answer option. They're both the same. Okay, let's do next one. Simplify. If you see the answer options, all they're trying to test is the powers. So negative to the power 11, is it going to be positive or negative? I'm going to do two things separately. Negative to the power 11 and x to the power 11. So tell me, what's negative to the power 11? Negative, that's correct. So negative to the power 11, odd powers gives us negative and even powers give us a positive. Negative to the power 11 is negative, which is either answer option B or D. And then what's x to the power 11? What's x to the power 11? Is it 11x, 11 times x, or 11 to the power x? B, that's correct. The answer option is B. So we've simplified it by putting the to the power 11 on top of negative and on top of x. Answer option B is correct. Next, let's move on to question number 13. Okay, this question can be, when I look at it, I feel the urge to solve because I have like weird numbers. They're not round numbers, they're decimals. I should ideally estimate. And when I look at the answer options, estimation is possible because look how far apart the answers are. So I'm just going to go ahead and estimate. So when I'm doing 10.9, I could round it off to either 10 or 11. 9.9, I could round it off to 10. That's pretty straightforward. And 4, I could round it off to 4.09. I can round it off to 4. Just the 10.9, I can either do 11 or I can do 10. 10 is going to be much easier for me because 11 is not a straightforward number. So I'm thinking of doing it to 10. And 10 times 10 is 100. 100 divided by 4 is 25. Because I'm estimating, it's okay even if the number is a little bit off from 25, but that's the answer I'm going to go with because 75 is far off, 55 is far off, and even 30 is a little bit far away. So estimation actually worked here. Our next question, this is also a question that has repeated so much, actually exactly as is, has repeated a lot from the very beginning, or something similar to this. We're comparing fractions and decimals. It can look challenging, but we need to re-anchor ourselves and we need to see how to go about it. What I'm going to do is, I see a 15 here. I see a 1.5 here. I'll just multiply the second one, the second fraction. with 10. This can happen in my mind. This can be mental math. I'm just writing it down for you guys to understand better. So when I multiply it by 10, the denominator, I get it as 15, which is the same as A. So it's easy for me to compare. The numerator, although I get it as 405. So now we're comparing 405 divided by 15 or 4.5 divided by 15. So clearly answer option B is much bigger. Again, it can throw us off a little bit because it's a heavy question. It has a lot going on. There's a fraction, there are decimals, there are variables, so there's a lot going on. But luckily, I have almost two equations. They've given me a relationship here, and they're asking me to solve this. So what I could do is multiply this with 10 numerator, multiply this with 10 denominator. So then I have x, or if you want to call it 1x, over 2y equals 2. So this will help us get the relationship between x and y. I'll take 2y on the other side. It will multiply with the other 2. So 2 times 2 will be 4y. Now that I have a relationship that x equals to 4y, all I need to do is put it here. X equals to 4y and get the answer. So we already have 7y plus 20 times 4 is 80. Yes. So we have 7y in the numerator. 80y, 7 plus 80y in the numerator and 3y in the denominator. Y has lost its relevance now because we have it everywhere. So all we're doing is 87. 8 plus 7 is 87 over 3. Y's cancel out, right? 87 over 3. I know 90 over 3 is 30. 90 over 3 is 30. And this is one short of it, which will be 29. Guys, any questions? Okay, so now that we are done with this question, that's all the questions that we have today. We started our today's session with Layan. Let's just try and see what's the score. And she was aiming to get a 95, right? Let's see what's the score that she ended up getting. And feedback. Remember, I said that please share feedback on what is it between you and your GAT score. We need to take that down. So the more feedback you share with me, the more I'll be able to take these sessions or anything else that you need apart from these sessions into consideration. And inshallah, it helps you get your score. So mashallah, she ended up getting a really good score, mashallah, tabarakallah, a little bit over what she had attempted to get. And as I said earlier, the reason that I keep bringing up students from the past is so that you can see it's happening from so many students. And inshallah, it will be you one day very soon, not far away from here. I can understand that studying on a daily basis can get boring. It can feel like a drag. But remember why you're doing this. If you remember why you're doing this, just keep picturing your score. I got this score. I got this score. Keep picturing your score. Like I do this to myself. If some days I don't feel like getting up and doing things, then I try and imagine what am I working for? I just have that imagination for like 1-2 minutes and it charges me up that, oh my God, I'm going to go for it. Because the day that we actually end up achieving our score is not the day we got the score. Test day is not the day we get the score. We're building our score every single day. 1%, 2%. And that's what I would recommend for you guys to do as well. Make the most of summer holidays. Study every single day, even if it's 5 minutes of review of your GFT notebook. Study every single day. And inshallah, your score is just around the corner. Believe that. Believe is so important that, yeah, I'm doing everything I can. and my score is just around the corner. And that's it, guys. Any questions, anything that you guys want to bring up, feel free to do that, or then we are done with our session today. You're welcome, Sandus. Alhamdulillah, I'm happy that was beneficial for you. Inshallah, I'll see you next time. And if you guys want to increase the number of sessions or anything, as I'm saying, you know, anything that's in the way of you and your score, let's try and see how we can make that happen. So until next time, everyone, take care. And inshallah, I'll see you in the next session. Take care, guys. Bye bye.